Welcome to Sarah Wood's Tale, where stories comes alive. Please do well to hit that subscription button and turn on your notification bell for subsequent stories. David Carter sat at the dining table, his face twisted in frustration. His once thriving business was crumbling, and the stress had turned him into a man he barely recognized. Across from him, his wife, Emily, pleaded with him for patience. "David, things will get better. We just need to hold on a little longer," Emily said softly, her eyes filled with worry. "Hold on." David scoffed. "For how long, Emily? I'm sick of struggling while you sit here doing nothing." Emily flinched at his harsh words. "I take care of this house. I take care of our daughter. That's not nothing, David." 8-year-old Grace, standing by the kitchen door, watched the argument unfold. She had never seen her father so angry before. "I don't need a burden," David shouted. "I need a wife who contributes and a daughter who doesn't add to my problems." Emily's face turned pale. "What are you saying?" David stood up and pointed at the door. "I want both of you out of my house. Tonight." Grace gasped, clutching her mother's dress. "Daddy, no. Please." But David's face was cold. "Go." Tears streamed down Emily's cheeks as she grabbed a small bag and held Grace close. "You'll regret this, David," she whispered. David turned away, unwilling to see them leave. The door slammed behind them, and silence filled the house. Emily had nowhere to go. With only a few coins in her pocket, she walked with Grace through the dark streets, searching for shelter. "Mommy, where are we going?" Grace asked, her voice trembling. Emily swallowed her tears. "Somewhere safe, sweetheart. We'll be okay." They found refuge at a small church, where a kind old woman named Margaret took them in. "You can stay here for a while," Margaret said warmly. "But what will you do next, Emily?" Emily squared her shoulders. "I'll find work. I won't let my daughter suffer." With determination, Emily worked as a cleaner by day and a cook by night. Life was hard, but she never let Grace see her pain. "Mommy, I want to be strong like you when I grow up," Grace said one night as they lay on a thin mattress. Emily kissed her forehead. "You'll be stronger, my love. Stronger than I ever was." Meanwhile, David's life took a downward spiral. Without Emily's support, his bad business decisions piled up. He made reckless investments, trusting the wrong people. One day, his business partner stormed into his office. "David, we're ruined. You gambled everything away." David felt the world spin. "No, this can't be happening." Within months, he lost everything, his business, his house, and his so-called friends. Sitting alone in a cheap, dark apartment, he stared at the empty walls. For the first time, he whispered to himself, "Maybe I was wrong." Years passed. Grace grew into a brilliant young woman, determined to make something of herself. She studied hard, won scholarships, and attended the country's top university. "I want to change the world, Mom," she said one day. Emily smiled proudly. "And you will, Grace." With relentless determination, Grace became a leading scientist, revolutionizing medicine in the country. Her name appeared in newspapers, on TV, and in history books. Grace Carter, the first woman to lead scientific breakthroughs in our country. The nation celebrated her, but one man sat in shock. David. David watched the TV in disbelief. The young woman giving a speech was his daughter, Grace Carter. He whispered, "My Grace." Tears burned his eyes. The girl he abandoned had become the country's pride. Guilt crushed him. "I have to see her," he muttered. But when he tried to contact her, he was ignored. The media uncovered his past. Headlines read, "Father who abandoned future leader tries to reconnect." Public opinion was brutal. People called him a heartless man who didn't deserve a second chance. For the first time in his life, David felt true regret. Desperate, David did the only thing left. He went on national television. Sitting in front of the cameras, he spoke with a trembling voice. "I was a fool," he admitted. "I abandoned my wife and daughter, and now, I live with regret." Grace, if you're watching this, please. I am sorry. The world waited for Grace's response. Grace agreed to meet David. When he saw her, his breath caught. She was no longer the little girl he abandoned. She was a strong, confident woman. Grace. David whispered. I don't deserve to ask this, but, can you ever forgive me? Grace studied him for a long moment. Then she spoke. You left us with nothing, she said, her voice calm but firm. You broke my mother's heart. Do you know how hard we struggled? David nodded, his eyes wet. I know. And I regret it every day. Grace sighed. I don't hate you, Dad. But forgiveness. That's not something you can demand. David lowered his head. I understand. Grace turned to leave. Then, she paused. Live the rest of your life as a better man, she said softly. That's all I ask. David watched as she walked away, knowing he had lost something he could never get back. David never saw Grace again. He spent his remaining years helping the poor, trying to make amends. One day, he received a letter. Dad, I don't hold anger anymore. I hope you find peace. Grace. Tears fell down his wrinkled face. It wasn't the reunion he dreamed of, but it was something. As he placed the letter on his bedside table, he whispered, I was wrong. And for the first time in years, he felt free. Message of the story. Regret is the heaviest burden. The choices we make today shape our tomorrow. Some mistakes cannot be undone, but we can always choose to be better. Please don't forget to subscribe to get more interesting stories like this.